Raider is a long-range strike aircraft, and what that means is it has the range to go anywhere in the world and keep a target at risk. It also is a platform, though, that is low observable, and that means it can enter enemy airspace and not be detected.
It begins, as so many revolutions do, not with a blinding flash, but in the measured pulse of engine tests before first light. On December 2nd, 2022, in the silent hangars of Palmdale, California, a new silhouette emerged from the shadows, a shape that would mark the threshold of an era, the B-21 Raider. This was not merely the world's newest stealth bomber, nor simply a successor to the long-serving B-2. It was, as Northrop Grumman and the United States Air Force unveiled to the world, the first sixth-generation aircraft, incorporating decades of relentless innovation in aerospace engineering, stealth, and electronic warfare. As the B-21 prepared for its earliest test flights, the aviation and defense world watched with anticipation. Was this just a more efficient, harder-to-detect bomber, or did its lines conceal a broader mission? For years, official statements have been careful, measured, and limited. The role of the B-21 had always seemed clear: penetrate the world's most heavily defended airspace, unleash precision strikes, conventional or nuclear, and return undetected, further securing the credibility of America's nuclear deterrent. But now, as Northrop Grumman delivers the second flight test aircraft and new contracts approach, signs point to the B-21 Raider's potential extending beyond the delivery of bombs. Program leaders and Air Force officials have begun to openly discuss the aircraft as more than a singular-purpose system. With testing expanding at Edwards Air Force Base and a growing fleet, its foundational capabilities will have impact far beyond just the reach of its munitions. If the B-21 Raider's primary mission is unambiguous, what precisely is its secondary role, recently acknowledged by its creators, and why does this matter for the future of global power projection? Stealth Unrivaled, the B-21's foundation. At its core, the B-21 Raider is built upon stealth. Since the advent of radar-evading aircraft, such as the F-117 Nighthawk, the importance of invisibility, or the closest possible approach to it, in modern airspace has been self-evident. Success in contested and highly defended domains requires platforms that are exceedingly difficult to detect, track, or target. Northrop Grumman's experience with the B-2 Spirit, America's pioneering flying wing bomber, informed each element of the Raider's design, melding low observability with enhanced survivability for a new generation. The B-21's airframe reflects an evolution of materials, design, and technology. Its long, streamlined lines and blended wing-body geometry are optimized to elude not only traditional radar detection, but also to counter emerging multispectrum sensors, including those utilizing low-frequency or infrared tracking. Engine inlets are embedded and shielded. Exhaust is cooled and masked to reduce detection from thermal and radar-based sensors. There are no exposed weapons bays or extraneous structures. Every element of the aircraft's outer shell is engineered to obscure, deflect, or absorb telltale signals. But stealth is more than a matter of shaping and coatings. The B-21 is conceived for operations deep inside adversary-controlled airspace, where electronic warfare and integrated air defense systems present rapidly adapting challenges. Its next-generation avionics merge sensor fusion with advanced countermeasures, electronic deception, and adaptable mission capability, giving it the capacity to slip through even the most sophisticated networks guarding potential targets. This translates to an ability to reach and hold at risk targets that no other bomber can, delivering munitions as directed, conventional or nuclear, on timelines determined by national leaders, not by adversary warning systems. These foundational elements are well understood. What has emerged more recently is the possibility that these same features unlock viable new roles, far beyond the sole delivery of bombs. The logic is clear. an advanced, highly survivable platform can serve as more than a mere strike vehicle. The role in the nuclear triad, beyond deterrence. Conventional wisdom holds that bombers are for striking targets decisively in war or crisis. Yet, within the framework of nuclear strategy, deterrence and flexible response elevate their utility. The B-21's addition to America's nuclear triad, alongside intercontinental ballistic missiles and submarine-launched warheads, is not merely symbolic or redundant, but fundamental to strategic doctrine. Unlike ICBMs, bombers are recallable. Unlike submarines, bombers are visible, and their movement can be employed as posture, signaling, and messaging. The B-21, with advanced stealth technology and survivability, solidifies the credibility of the nuclear triad, offering adaptable and observable force projection anywhere in the world at any time. But the value of strategic bombers in deterrence is broader than simple strike capability. Their unique visible presence allows for crisis stability and escalation management. Dispatched flights signal intent, provide options, and demonstrate resolve. The B-21's resilience adds credibility to this mission, making it more than a mere platform for releasing ordnance. It stands as an active instrument of national policy in peace and crisis alike. Further, the flexibility to recall a bomber provides critical space for decision-makers. Should new information or diplomacy intervene in the 11th hour, a B-21 mission can be called back, a potential show of strength or restraint rather than an irrevocable act. These characteristics, stealth, range, recallability, and visibility, extend the B-21's mission into the psychological, political, and informational domains, reinforcing deterrence and shaping the perceptions and choices of potential adversaries. With every additional airframe at Edwards Air Force Base and every contract advanced, these aspects become ever more relevant for global stability. From test to combat, emphasizing flexibility. Testing at Edwards Air Force Base is not simply intended to demonstrate the B-21's flight and systems worthiness, but also its operational credibility. Notably, Northrop Grumman and the Air Force have confirmed that even the earliest test aircraft are not confined to experimental roles. They could be used in combat if circumstances demanded. This reflects both confidence in the aircraft's design and a sense of urgency about fielding advanced capabilities in a dynamic threat environment. Envisioning test aircraft as combat-capable reveals a doctrine of flexibility, which is deeply embedded in the B-21's development. In a landscape where adversaries can present unexpected threats on short notice, the rapid conversion of a test fleet into mission-ready bombers provides a critical operational hedge. Every investment in production is intended to yield immediately usable value. The emphasis on adaptability informs design philosophy as well. Unlike legacy bombers, which required lengthy and costly upgrades, the B-21 leverages digital engineering, allowing for near-instant prototyping, rapid simulation, and continuous software-driven updates. This means systems such as electronic warfare or sensor packages can be refined, tested, and fielded quickly, minimizing downtime and maximizing readiness. For a bomber that can evade modern defenses and carry advanced sensor and electronic payloads, the options for its employment are significantly broader than its predecessors. The defining boundaries of its operational roles have become increasingly flexible, reflecting a platform not just limited by its weapons, but enabled by its capacity to deliver data and influence across the battlespace. Beyond bombs, toward a multi-role platform. Recent official statements from Northrop Grumman and the Air Force have begun to frame the B-21 not solely as a traditional bomber, but as a baseline for a family of systems, adaptable for a range of missions. With additional Air Force contracts anticipated and production pacing upward, commentary now openly considers the B-21's utility as exceeding mere ordnance delivery. The architecture of the B-21 is modular and open by design, a deliberate choice to match the evolving nature of international conflict and emerging operational requirements. This modularity means rapid upgrades are possible not only for avionics and countermeasures, but for entire mission packages. In operational terms, this translates into an aircraft able to integrate new sensors, alternative payloads, and digital warfare suites through routine, software-enabled refreshers. While its role as a highly survivable, long-range bomb truck retains strategic value, the Raider's potential as a penetrating sensor platform, electronic warfare vehicle, or battle management node is increasingly recognized. These evolutions are not mere speculation. Official documents and program statements have outlined the intention to exploit the B-21's modular architecture for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance (ISR), electronic attack, and networked communications. Its stealth characteristics enable it to access denied airspace where traditional ISR platforms, such as satellites or drones, may be detected or countered. In effect, the B-21 can become an undetectable collector and relay for crucial battlefield information, augmenting the broader intelligence picture and providing real-time targeting for joint forces. In the realm of multi-domain operations, the B-21's communication backbone could serve as a command and control node, organizing and directing manned and unmanned systems through secure data links. For example, integrated with autonomous unmanned platforms, sometimes dubbed loyal wingmen, the B-21 might coordinate drone swarms for jamming, surveillance, or even electronic suppression missions. Defined in these terms, the B-21's mission is not bounded by the munitions in its bays, but rather by the data it can deliver, the information it can collect, and the effects it can generate across contested domains. In the crucible of modern combat, it can be envisioned not merely as a strike platform, but as an orchestrator of distributed multi-domain power. Strategic implications: advancing air dominance. The rapid maturation of the B-21 carries strategic repercussions that ripple across all levels of military planning and international security. At its surface, it accelerates force modernization, enabling the Air Force to eventually retire aging B-1B, B-2, and B-52 bombers and field a more survivable, flexible fleet. At a deeper level, the B-21 functions as a force multiplier, compelling adversaries to anticipate and defend against not only its strike capability, but potential electronic, intelligence, or battle management roles. Every investment made to harden enemy defenses, every missile or sensor allocated for protection, must now account for a threat that can adapt, blind, or disable systems unpredictably. This uncertainty is itself a source of strength. The B-21 complicates adversary planning. Is a formation approaching to deliver bombs, collect intelligence, manage unmanned platforms, or jam sensors? This ambiguity creates cost and operational dilemmas, potentially forcing countermeasures to be allocated inefficiently and buying time or advantage for other US and allied forces. The B-21's digital backbone and open systems approach further mean that as threats evolve, the aircraft can be upgraded via software updates or payload swaps with much less lead time than previous generations. Where adversaries may labor to adapt to a defined threat profile, a software patch or mission module change can alter the B-21's capabilities overnight. As production continues in Palmdale and new contracts near completion, the B-21's visible progress signals not just technical achievement, but a strategic bet on adaptability and sustained overmatch. Each new airframe multiplies the commander's options in a crisis and complicates the enemy's calculations for defense or denial operations. An industrial and policy challenge. As with all advanced weapons, the B-21 emerges within an ecosystem of technology, industry, and policy. Northrop Grumman's high-tempo operations at its facilities will directly influence how quickly the Air Force can transition from legacy bombers to a fully realized B-21 fleet. The confidence in the program, evidenced by anticipated contracts and planned production scaling, arises from a belief that the B-21 is not simply an upgraded platform, but a transformative asset, software-defined and upgradable for decades, and ready to evolve for roles that may not yet be fully envisioned. The new paradigm prioritizes adaptability, open architectures, and rapid modification, ensuring the capability remains relevant as circumstances change. This industrial effort reverberates throughout the U.S. economy, drawing on a workforce of thousands of engineers, technicians, machinists, and related professionals across the country. The momentum of the B-21 program advances the broader defense innovation landscape, spurring new technologies, infusing the pipeline for future projects, and reinforcing the U.S. position as a leader in high-end aerospace and military modernization. However, the pace of development brings risks. As the B-21 transitions from testing to operational deployment, issues such as supply chain resilience, cost management, training, and integration remain under careful consideration. Nonetheless, the need for continuous adaptation in the face of evolving threats is clear. Only a force able to innovate and deploy new solutions rapidly will be positioned to retain air dominance in the coming decades. The B-21's development and the growing clarity around its multi-role capabilities mark a shift not just for bomber operations, but for the broader landscape of U.S. defense planning. Its promise of adaptability and survivability is not confined to procurement lists, but resonates in the strategic thinking of policymakers. Inside the wire, shaping operations and doctrine. The routine arrival of more B-21s at Edwards Air Force Base is more than a milestone in hardware. It signals a transformation in how the U.S. Air Force approaches readiness, operations, and training. The B-21's family of systems concept integrates aircraft, infrastructure, and software, enabling flexible adaptation to new missions as the security environment evolves. Inside air operations centers and maintenance facilities, Doctrine shifts to emphasize rapid reconfiguration. A B-21 might prepare for a mission with bombs, sensors, or specialized electronic modules, depending on real-time needs. Training paths are similarly evolving, focusing on software management, data integration, and multi-role mission preparation. Airmen are being equipped not solely to fly and maintain the aircraft, but to operate and orchestrate complex networks of sensors, data, and effects alongside joint and allied partners. With the B-21's arrival, both adversaries and allies are forced to confront new operational realities. Each flight test, public statement, and deployment expands the bounds of what must be defended against or integrated into joint force plans. The B-21's modular, open-ended design provides a hedge against strategic surprise. Each additional aircraft is a bet on flexibility and future-proofing. Investments into logistics, mission support, and information management ensure that the Air Force can keep pace with new operational demands. As other domains such as space and cyber become increasingly contested, the B-21 is positioned to participate in, or even lead, missions that cross traditional boundaries, synchronizing information across air, land, sea, and digital domains as circumstances require. Beyond legacy doctrine, toward an adaptive future. For much of the last century, strategic bombers were defined by their ability to carry large payloads and reach distant targets. The B-52, B-1B, and B-2 remain symbols of those priorities in American military history, but the security environment shaping the B-21's development calls for a fundamental shift. Whereas earlier bombers were made for specific threats or mission sets, the B-21 has been envisioned from the start as a flexible, upgradable, and multi-mission tool, able to adapt as quickly as its software and payloads can be updated. This represents a departure from rigid doctrine and reflects a broader change toward adaptive operations, where platforms must be able to switch roles, integrate with diverse forces, and adjust quickly to new forms of warfare. The B-21's open systems approach is central to this shift. Updates to software, sensors, and communications can be performed swiftly, allowing the platform to keep pace with the evolving threat landscape. This capacity for rapid reconfiguration means the B-21's ultimate role in the force may look very different over time, as new technologies and operational concepts are fielded. Military training itself is following suit. Pilots and planners now prepare for scenarios where the B-21's mission may shift in real time, delivering precision strike in one sortie, acting as a sensor or command node in another, or integrating support for unmanned systems in highly contested airspace. Joint and coalition exercises increasingly reflect these adaptable missions, reinforcing the importance of flexibility and networked integration. These developments do not go unnoticed by potential adversaries, who now must allocate resources and efforts to counter a bomber that is not defined solely by its physical characteristics, but by its capacity to evolve, creating new demands on their own defense postures and planning cycles. The B-21 in flight, setting a new standard. As the B-21 Raider advances from the factory floor to flight testing, and eventually to frontline operations, its significance grows. Northrop Grumman's statements, together with Air Force guidance, point to a future in which the B-21 sets the standard for multi-role, survivable, and adaptable long-range air power. It is not simply a new bomber. With capabilities designed for intelligence collection, surveillance, reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and networked command, and proven flexibility in evolving operational environments, the B-21 is the mainstay of a new generation of strategic aviation. As each new airframe rolls out of Palmdale, the world's advanced militaries benchmark their own efforts against it. The B-21's open acknowledgement as more than just a bomb delivery platform changes the calculus for competitors and planners alike. Its arrival injects uncertainty into adversary defensive preparations and offers commanders a new spectrum of options for influence, deterrence, and, if required, decisive impact. Conclusion: a new chapter in strategic air power. The B-21 Raider is ushering in more than a technical upgrade. It heralds a new era in which the boundaries between strike, reconnaissance, and command blur. The mission beyond bombing, now recognized in both public and programmatic statements, reflects the realities of modern conflict. Deterrence, data, and adaptability are as important as firepower. Each new B-21, each successful test, and each software update further enables the aircraft to adapt to new roles, missions, and challenges. As a result, the Raider is not only redefining long-range strike, but also shaping a new global standard for multi-role, survivable, and flexible air power. As the next B-21 takes flight, attention focuses not only on this aircraft's form, but on the potential contained within its evolving architecture. The B-21's mission beyond bombing is no longer a matter of speculation. It is the emerging reality, one that will shape air power, deterrence, and strategic competition for years to come.